After a wild weekend of Four Nations and college hockey, welcome back down to ice level. As always, I'm your host, James Blennau, and like the brawl at the Bell Center on Saturday night, let's get straight down to business. What's the lowdown? Mike Richter Award finalists are released as of Thursday. The award is given to the best goalie across the game, with past winners including Connor Hellebuyck, Jeremy Swayman, and Thatcher Demko. This year's list includes stars like Michigan State's Trey Augustine, Maine's Albin Boya, and Michigan State's Alec Tracy, who looks to bring the trophy home to Mankato for the first time after Dryden McKay lost out to Devin Levi in 2022. 3 finalists will be announced in March, with the award announcement on Frozen 4 weekend in St. Louis. In another award announcement this week, not exclusive to D1 men's, the 5 finalists for the Hockey Humanitarian Award are here. The award foundation describes itself as, quote, meant to be seen as a true measure of a person's worth, not just as an athlete, but as someone who embodies those values that merit our recognition. Finalists include 4 women's players: BC's Kelly Clarity, Bemidji State's Kendra Fortin, Merrimack's Race Zott, and St. Lawrence's Sarah Thompson, with 1 D1 men's player, Cornell's Hank Kemp. The award will also be announced on Frozen 4 weekend. And on to Game of the Week. As much as I'd love to talk about my beloved Team USA's win over Canada, there were a whole lot more games and some wild matchups in college this weekend. So let's see who took the cake. Number 4 Minnesota took the trip west to Ann Arbor, taking on the number 12 Michigan Wolverines in front of a sold-out Yost Ice Arena crowd. The Wolverines looked to play spoiler in the Golden Gophers' Big Ten regular season championship campaign, and after a relatively quiet period, the Gophs broke out. Mason Nevers got it started 7 minutes into the second, and as much as the Maroon and Gold tried to hold on to their lead into the third, it was Blues' time to strike late. Garrett Shifsky scored one to tie it just before 17 minutes, assisted by Tyler Duke and a familiar Luca Fantilli. Keenan Draper scored again within 2 minutes and made it 2-1 Wolverines for Duke's second assist of the game. The third period wasn't easy to hold though, as Jimmy Clark fired one halfway through to tie it for Minnesota and take it to overtime in a Big Ten Classic. Overtime was Minnesota's to lose, but Ryan Chesley's hooking call 3 minutes in gave a star-powered 4-on-3 power play to the Blue. Ethan Edwards called game nearly 20 seconds later from TJ Hughes and Michael Hage, giving the home crowd a massive 2 points in the conference. I had too many options this week for upset uproar, but we're going to the Hockey East and one of the games between a Boston school and a Massachusetts State school, but not the one you think. Northeastern picked the right time to get hot in what would likely be their final season at Matthews Arena, as they took down number 13 UMass Lowell in shutout fashion on Friday night. Joe Connor, who by the way Lowell should know never to trust a man with 2 first names, scored both the Huskies goals, with 1 in the first and 1 in the second. The Lightning's 2024 7th round pick scored his 5th and 6th goals of the season on Friday night, as Northeastern looks to make a late run at a Hockey East tournament seeding and a possible championship appearance. Goalie Quentin Sigurdsson saved 34 of 34 Riverhawks shots, D-man Jackson Dorrington blocked 5 shots, and the Huskies' penalty kill went 5 of 5 through the game. Aha! I've found what to talk about in Atlantic Hockey America. Robert Morris in a massive swing sent Niagara into overtime twice, winning 1 and losing 1 in the weekend series split at the Falls and in Western PA. Canisius also managed to take down Bentley in a massive conference upset on Saturday night in Waltham, and taking the first game to overtime. As the seeding begins to form, let's check out where all the teams land in this week's AHA standings. Holy Cross leads with 53 points and 24 played, followed by Bentley with 48 and 24. Sacred Heart not far behind them with 47 points, and Niagara with 45, and Army with 42, rounding out the top teams. Below them is Canisius with 35 and Air Force with 32. AIC follows them with 27 points, Robert Morris with 26, RIT with 22, and rounding us out is Mercyhurst with 16 points in 24 conference games played across the board aside from AIC. Aside from Michigan and Minnesota's ties over the weekend where Blue took 4 points and the Gophers took 2, there were some serious matchups in the Big Ten this weekend. Number 18, yes, now ranked Penn State, also getting hot at the right time, swept bottom-seeded Notre Dame at Pagula, with Blake Biondi lighting the lamp twice. Number 8, Ohio State also took on Wisconsin in Columbus, with Riley Thompson scoring twice on Friday in the series sweep for the Buckeyes as they won 4-1 and 4-2. With each segment of the standings tight, let's see who has what seed in the Big Ten as of this week. Michigan State leads a tight conference with 20 games played throughout aside from Michigan and Wisconsin with 43 points and 20 played, followed by Minnesota with 40 and 20, and Ohio State tied with them also at 40 and 20. Michigan lies below with 32 points and 22 played, followed by Penn State with 26 and 20, Wisconsin with 24 and 22, and Notre Dame with 11 points in 20 games played. Not a ton happened this week in the CCHA, but what did happen was definitely impactful. Ferris State is staying hot in the conference with a split against Lake Superior State in Michigan, earning an overtime win on Friday thanks to Cole Birch's wild late heroics. Augustana also earned 5 points in a weekend series against Michigan Tech, hoping to keep their top spot in the CCHA with a regulation and shootout win on the road. With 2 series left in the conference, let's see where the CCHA stands before the Mason Cup. Minnesota State leads with a .697 points percentage, followed closely by Augustana with a .625. Bowling Green is sneaking up the table with a .591, followed by Michigan Tech with a .561. Below 500, we have St. Thomas with a .485, also tied with Lake Superior State. Ferris State climbing up with a .439, tied with Bemidji State. And Northern Michigan with a .212 at the bottom of the conference. In ECAC hockey, while there weren't too many season-defining games, some teams are showing how much they want to head to Lake Placid this March for a chance at the Whitewall Cup. Clarkson and St. Lawrence both took down Dartmouth and Hanover, handing the Big Green 2 massive losses in conference play. This weekend also had one of the conference's biggest upsets as well, with Yale taking down Colgate in overtime at Ingalls Rink in New Haven as they head into an in-state rivalry game with Quinnipiac this weekend. With the Cleary Cup and Whitewall Cup potentially changing hands this year, let's see who's looking to take home the hardware in the ECAC hockey standings. In 18 games played throughout the board, Quinnipiac leads with 40 points, followed by Clarkson with 36, and Colgate and Union tied with 34. Dartmouth leads the Ivies with 30, tied with Cornell just below them on the tiebreaker, Harvard with 25, and Brown with 24. Our bottom 4 goes RPI with 19, St. Lawrence with 18, Princeton with 17, and Yale with 17 to round out the standings. Oh, Hockey East, never change. Alongside Lowell Northeastern's split, a few more games made some headlines this weekend. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Number 16 UMass decided to make national headlines this weekend and take down unanimous number 1 BC at Conti Forum in regulation. Do I even have to say more? Well, I will, because Jack Musa and Cole O'Hara each had a goal and an assist in the win, with BC's last goal to make it 3-2 only coming with the extra attacker. The series was ultimately a split, just like number 7 Providence and number 9 BU, with each home team taking 3 points over the weekend. To top it off, New Hampshire put up some fight in the border battle at Maine this weekend, forcing a shootout in Game 1, but losing the second in regulation to the number 4 overall team. With the Lamorello Trophy on the line in just a few weeks, let's see who has the top spots in the Hockey East standings. BC leads the pack with 41 points, followed by Maine just below them on a tiebreaker with 41. BU follows them in third with 35 points, and UMass Lowell in fourth with 29. Merrimack and Yukon are tied for fifth with 28. Providence follows them in 7th with 27, UMass with 24, Vermont with 22, Northeastern in 10th with 20, and New Hampshire in 11th with 14 points. If If you like upsets, which who doesn't unless it's your team getting upset, this was a fun weekend in the NCHC. Minnesota Duluth marched into the desert and took an overtime win against number 10 Arizona State on Friday night and took it to a shootout on Saturday in a massive swing for the top of the NCHC. Number 20 Omaha also took number 3 Western Michigan to overtime in the road series, while the Broncos took Game 2 in regulation. Rivalry night was taken to a new level with number 6 Denver and number 17 North Dakota in a series split in the Mile High City, with a massive brawl breaking out at the end of Game 2, one of the biggest we've seen all year. Finally, with a surprising result after losing in regulation in Game 1, Miami, Ohio took an overtime point in Game 2 at number 19 Colorado College. With the frozen face-off looming, who's going to take the number 1 seed in the NCHC? Right now in front it's Western Michigan with 45 points, followed by Arizona State with 40. Omaha close third with 38 points, and in fourth it's North Dakota with 31. Just behind them are Denver with 30 and rivals Colorado College with 29. Minnesota Duluth climbing the standings with 22. St. Cloud State with 15, and Miami with 2 points in the conference.
The Ice Level Podcast is sponsored by Best Damn Tape. Best Damn Tape's mission is to supply the most affordable and elite-level sports tape to athletes worldwide. You can go to bestdamntape.com and use code DanKShow40, that's DanKShow40, to get 40% off your order. Go to bestdamntape.com and order your clear tape, your black and white tape, scented stick wax, and more.
As you could probably tell, I couldn't help myself talking about Team USA. But we're going to talk about some of the top college players on this four-nation squad in a special segment we're calling Tale of the Team. All stats for the tournament will be before Monday night's game in the Four Nations versus Sweden, since I'm recording before then. Omaha's Jake Gensel has been outstanding for the Red, White, and Blue, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist, with Michigan's Zach Werenski also adding 4 assists on the back end. BC's Matt Boldy has a goal and 2 assists, and while he hasn't shown up on the score sheet as much, BU's Charlie McAvoy has been playing an outstanding defensive game, averaging nearly 20 minutes on ice and playing the team's patented defensive game better than almost anyone. Starting goalie and former UMass Lowell Riverhawk Connor Hellebuck has 2 wins, has stopped 45 of 47 shots faced against Finland and Canada, and only 2 goals allowed, with 15 of 17 high danger chances stopped. Although these aren't the only rankings we'll see this week, keep your eyes peeled for some more content. Let's check out the February 17th USCHO Poll. Michigan State takes back first place with 23 first place votes, followed by BC with 11 first place votes and Western Michigan with 16 to round out the top 3. Maine and Minnesota follow them to round out the top 5. Denver, Ohio State, Providence, BU, and Michigan follow us in the top 10. UConn, Arizona State, UMass Lowell, Quinnipiac, and Minnesota State make up the top 15, and UMass, North Dakota, Penn State, Clarkson, and Colorado College round out the top 20 of the poll, with Clarkson the only team to jump in new from this ranking. And with the trees frozen and the snow coming down a little more often than we've hoped, at least in the Northeast, it's the perfect time to stay indoors and watch these games upcoming in this week's Forecheck Forecast. In the Big Ten, number 7 Ohio State heads to Mariucci to take on number 5 Minnesota in a weekend series that will have massive Big Ten and possibly NCAA tournament implications. A hot number 18 Penn State team also heads to East Lansing, looking to play spoiler against number 1 Michigan State for a season-defining upset. In ECAC hockey, number 19 Clarkson continues its Cleary Cup chase when it heads to Ithaca to take on Cornell in a top-end ECAC battle, with the Golden Knights seeing Colgate as well on Saturday. In the Hockey East, number 9 BU splits a home-and-home across the city with Northeastern as the Huskies look to build their seeding in the Hockey East, while number 4 Maine takes on number 11 UConn in Stores for a standalone on Friday night, and number 13 UMass Lowell goes to number 8 Providence on Saturday night. In the NCHC, number 3 Western Michigan takes on number 12 Arizona State in the Desert in a battle for the conference's top seed, and number 20 Colorado College takes on St. Cloud State in a weekend series in Minnesota with also huge tournament implications. Finally, Minnesota Duluth heads to the Ralph to take on number 17 North Dakota, looking for yet another upset win in 2 games. That's all, hockey fans. Thanks so much for coming down to Ice Level with me this week, as I try a new sign-off seemingly every episode until I make one that I like. We may not be experts, but it takes fans to grow the game. I'm James Blennau, and I'll see you next week.